Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to review the Saratoga, California real estate market analysis for June 2008. My name is Robert Whitelaw, and I am a licensed real estate broker in the state of California. I'm also a member of the National Association of Realtors and a certified ePro. Now, as of this month, I am also the president and CEO of Whitelaw & Sons Real Estate Services, and I'm very excited to announce the opening of my new business. We'll be serving all of Silicon Valley, and the new website will be www.wandsons.com. We're going to be a full-service real estate brokerage firm. That means anything that you need to be done relating to real estate, please give us a call. We'd be happy to help you in any way we can. And, of course, we're going to be focused on what matters most to clients. And while I realize that just about every company that ever opens its doors starts off with this sort of statement, it's going to be a little bit different in the world of real estate because we've been so long told what the important numbers are supposed to be, when in reality, the things that should be important to buyers and sellers are really quite different from what they've been told by the real estate industry. My company is going to be focused on selling every listing that comes into the door. We're going to be focused on getting you sold as soon as possible, and we're also going to be focusing our efforts on getting you the highest price possible. And while I know that sounds like what everyone else does, we're actually going to be basing our compensation and our evaluation on how we do our job on those numbers. So it's not about the total number of homes sold, which may or may not tell you anything about how good we are getting your home sold. And it's not going to be about the dollar volume of homes that get sold. It's really going to be focused on the numbers that matter the most to you. Now, in order to sort of usher in this new business, I wanted to offer a special rebate to buyers out there. I'm offering a 25% buyer rebate. That basically means that whatever the stated commission is or stated compensation is to your agent, if you're a buyer, 25% of that amount will be credited back to you when you purchase the home. Now, this offer is available until August 31st, 2008, but the good news is you don't have to actually buy anything before August 31st of 2008. You just need to contact me to reserve your 25% rebate. Now, some conditions do apply, so you'll need to get in touch so we can discuss those. Now, you can reach me at 408-852-0525, or if you'd prefer to start the conversation via email, just send that to robert@soldbyrobert.com. I appreciate you giving me a few minutes to give my business a plug here. Now, let's jump right into the supply and demand numbers for Saratoga for June of 2008. Now, we're going to go ahead and first look at the inventory numbers. We can see we've gotten a little bit of an increase in inventory, but overall, it's actually not that bad. When you look at when the market first started to get hit, Saratoga felt it a bit, 2005, 2006, with inventory numbers going up, then dropping dramatically in 2007, and then we've had a bit of an increase this month, in the month of June of 2008 compared to 2007. Now, the inventory as compared to last year is up 4.2%. Now, that's really only a net increase of 5 homes. So I realize that might look like more than 5 homes on that graph, but realize we're talking about relatively small numbers because we are just looking at the community of Saratoga. Now, the total number of homes on the market in Saratoga stands at 124 for the month of June. If we look now at the number of homes listed in the month, we can see that it's up a bit from last year. It's actually up 18% from June of 2007, but that's only 9 more homes listed in the month of June in 2008 than last year. So again, not a huge jump. Here's the number that's a little bit more disappointing. We've seen, and more because it shows a trend than anything else, we've seen yet another drop in sales in Saratoga, and that's a little bit of a concern, simply because that the bigger distance you get between the inventory and the number of homes sold, you have a lot fewer buyers out there buying things, so you end up with the net result of a lot of sellers out there trying to get the attention of a very small group of people. Now, the sales are actually down 41.9%. That's a substantial drop. That's 13 fewer homes sold in the month of June 2008 than were sold last year. Now, the total homes sold in June 2008 was 18. And if you do the math, that gives us an inventory. If you do the math and figure out how many months worth of inventory we have, so if the inventory we had froze right now and the sales numbers we had froze right now, it would take us 6.9, almost 7 months to get those homes sold. To think of that another way, for every home that sells, there's about 6 or 7 homes on the market trying to get sold. Now, that number is to the point where it's a little bit concerning. Usually I start to get a little worried if we get over 4.5 or 5. So it's just a lot less of a seller's market than it was in Saratoga. But we're going to see some numbers up here coming up that indicate that it's really sort of a targeted decline for some folks in Saratoga, and we'll get into that in a minute. Now, if we just look at the numbers over the past months, we can see that we're everything is down. Ever since October, September, October, things have remained relatively down in Saratoga. Now, if we look at the same time last year, go back to March of last year, you can see a steady decrease almost. We had a little bit of a flat inventory situation between March and April, but then the inventory started to go down right up to June and continued on into August doing that. We're not seeing the same thing this year. This year we're seeing inventories steadily increasing between March and June. So that's kind of an interesting thing to note. In a period where we actually tended to see a decrease in inventory last year, we're seeing an increase this year. That's not a good thing. Now, if you look at sales, we can say almost the same thing. We saw a steady increase in sales from March until May of last year. We didn't really get that here. We got an increase, but then we saw it started to really drop from April till now in June of 2008. And that's been a trend. So that we're not really getting the summer season we would expect or want for Saratoga. Given the kind of community Saratoga is, I'm a little bit surprised at these numbers. It tends to be more of a robust community. And Saratoga is one of the most, in my opinion, amazing communities in the county. So I'm a little surprised at these numbers. But it's definitely something that buyers and sellers need to be aware of. Now, inventory is actually down inventory is up 13.8% between May and June of 2008. Number of homes listed was up 15.7%, and sales was down 28%. Now let's go ahead and take a look at home prices. This is also interesting, and it's kind of reveals something if we look a little bit more closely at it. The average home price was down 2.2%. That's in dollars. That's down $43,232. And the average home price was $1,895,777. We can see also that the median is moving. The average price is down a bit, not a huge number. Anything under a 5% shift is fairly manageable. But look at that drop in the median priced home, and that basically tells us that half the homes that sold were over that amount and half the homes that sold were below that amount. So we're seeing more of a focus on the lower priced homes in Saratoga. The homes that are priced at the lower end for that community are the ones that are tending to sell. And we'll get into it, and we'll be able to see that reflected a little bit more later. But right now, let's talk a little bit about the median change. The change was down 6.2%. The median change was down 6.2%. That's a dollar value of $110,000. So definitely a shift in the emphasis of the buyers out there towards the lower priced homes. Now, the highest priced home that sold in June of 2008 for Saratoga was on Garrett Road, and that sold for $4,250,000. It had listed for $4,389,000 and was only on the market for 9 days. Now, I didn't get a chance to get into this property, but I did drive, and one of my tours I did drive through that area and took a look at it. A beautiful home. So I've for the first few years of my career, I focused exclusively on properties of this type, and I'd say it was a really beautiful home, and I'm glad to see that they got that sold so quickly. Now, the lowest priced home in Saratoga was on Kenyon Court, and that home sold for $1,060,000. And the list price was $998,000. So notice that actually sold for higher than asking price. That was a very well priced home, so I'm not surprised it went. And it went in 4 days. So that was, I think that was an excellent deal. And whoever got that home should be very happy. Now, the average price per square foot for homes that sold in Saratoga for June of 2008 was $658.75 per square foot. That's actually down from last month's $719.12 per square foot. The average days on market being 31 days for homes in Saratoga. So those numbers are all pretty good. Our inventory numbers are up, our sales numbers are down, but the time it's taking folks to get homes sold is still pretty good. And the downside to that, though, is if these inventory numbers as related to the sales numbers tend to stay where they are, we will tend to see that average days on market increase steadily in the coming months. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the home prices just over the past months. Now, the average home price again was $1,895,777. We had a percentage price change between May and June of negative 0.3%, so not a huge drop. What's more interesting is the median drop. Again, it's showing a change in the buying tendencies of folks to purchase homes at the lower end, at least in the Saratoga area. We don't see anything else that really gives us a lot of insight into where we might be going. We can take a look and see what happened last year. In the build up to June last year, we actually saw lower prices with things sort of bottoming out or flattening a bit between May and June. A bit of an increase from May to June, but not a lot, and then a big dip in July. This year, we saw not quite the same thing. From March until May, we saw steady increases this year. Last year, we didn't see that. So that's actually a little bit more of a healthy indicator of a summer season for us. And then here in June, really just very flat, slightly less off performance from last year. What we need to find out now is, do we expect to see the same sort of performance as last year? That was sort of an odd drop last year in July. I wouldn't expect the same. I would expect either the same level of performance on home prices next month or perhaps a little bit less, but I don't think we're going to see as big a drop as we did last year. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the number of days to get a home sold. And this is an interesting number because it's very robust. It shows a much stronger market. In order to get sold, it's only taking about 30 days. The days to sell changed is down 30 from last year. So it was 60 last year and it's 30 this year. Obviously, a percentage change of 50%. Now the lowest days on market in June of 2008 was 4. It only took 4 days to get a home sold. That was the fastest that a home was sold in Saratoga, and the longest days on market was 215. Now, to break that up a little bit, let's give you sort of the profile of homes that sold in Saratoga. Now, the homes that sold there were 3 homes that sold in 1 week or less. There were 11 homes that sold in 8 to 30 days. There were 3 homes that sold in 31 to 90 days, and there was 1 home that sold in 91 days or greater. Now, of course, we did have that 1 home that sold in 215 days, and that was out there all by itself. I mean, that was not representative of the sample, so it offset our numbers even more. Now, homes that sold in less than 30 days represent 77% of the homes that sold last month in June. So if you're someone in Saratoga who's looking to sell your home, you're looking at about a 77% chance of getting your home sold in 30 days or less. Now, that's still fantastic expectations, I think. I don't know if I'd be taking to heart too much of the down price numbers that we've seen, the asking price, the sales price numbers, simply because since it shows a re-emphasis of homes below that median point, below that average price point, it just sort of shows the shift in buying practices of the public. It doesn't necessarily show that the price of your home has gone down. I think what we need to see, though, is a lot more critical examination of what we're putting our prices at on the higher-end homes in Saratoga, as some of those are tending to stay on the market when they're not properly priced. Now, even at over $4 million, our highest-priced home this month was well-priced given what that home had to offer. So, that just shows that if you've got if you have the proper market analysis done on your home, if you've got a good examination, and you're offering the value for the money, even at the high end, you can still get a home sold in Saratoga. Now let's go ahead and look at days to sell over the last months. It's increased. The days to sell is down 53.1% from last month, a decrease of 34 days. Again, these are not, because we have such a small sample, we often see these numbers getting skewed one way or the other because of a few homes that tend to stay on the market a long time. Now, I'm obviously trying to compensate for that in the numbers I'm telling you here, and I'll look back at the numbers and see how they go. But I don't think there's anything to worry about moving forward into the rest of the summer season. I would say that if you are a seller, you're looking at a reasonable amount of time of about 30 days to get your home sold, and that's something that just uses a benchmark. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. Now, I do appreciate you taking the time to listen to what I have to say on these market analysis. As always, you can get the rest of my articles, video presentations, and podcasts at my website at www.soldbyrobert.com. You can also send ideas, suggestions, observations, or questions to me via email at robert@soldbyrobert.com. Or if you'd like to, you can give me a call. Happy to discuss real estate with you anytime you like. You can call me at 408-852-0525. If you are someone who prefers to have a chat via AOL Instant Messenger, Google Talk, or Yahoo Instant Messenger, feel free to use my screen name, The Rebel Broker, to get in touch. Or if you'd like to talk via Skype, my Skype name is Rebel Broker. And of course, referrals are always appreciated. If you have any friends or family interested in buying or selling real estate in Silicon Valley, please feel free to give them my information. Again, thanks for taking the time to listen, and I will talk to you all next time.